Hello, I'm Justine Hall. I'm a professor in the sociology department here at the University of Oregon, and I'm also one of the instructors of the PE class, Self-Defense for Women. I and the other instructors of the class have put together a series of short videos to show you who we are and what we do in our self-defense class. To start us off, I want to talk for just a moment about why we have this class. I am sure you already know that college students are at high risk of sexual assault. Parents often send their daughters to college armed with pepper spray and warnings about things like not walking alone at night. But it's important to know that most of the risks that college students face actually come from people they know, not from strangers in dark alleys or parking garages or any other places like those. The vast majority of sexual assaults happen in familiar places like parties and dorm rooms and other student residences. And most perpetrators are friends or acquaintances, or what's sometimes called in-network strangers. In other words, a friend of a friend, or somebody in the same class or the same organization. Our self-defense class helps equip students to deal with this kind of situation, as well as the more stereotypical situations of walking home alone at night. Here at the University of Oregon, we teach a type of self-defense called empowerment self-defense. Our class has two interconnected parts. In the first part, students learn really effective and easy to learn physical self-defense skills that will help them know what to do if they're ever faced with a physical threat. And then in the second part of the class, which we call the empowerment part, we help students learn how to avoid these kinds of situations and these kinds of threats from happening in the first place, as well as how to handle the more minor, everyday moments of disrespect or harassment that they might encounter in their daily lives. Our instructors will talk about the details of these two parts of the class later on in these videos, and you'll also hear from a few of our past students about how they experienced the class. For now, it's important to know that empowerment self-defense training keeps students safer. Empowerment self-defense classes have been shown to reduce women's risk of rape and other forms of sexual assault by at least 50% on college campuses. That's way more than any other type of assault prevention program that's ever been studied. Empowerment self-defense training also helps students in other ways. In research that I've done in my job as a sociology professor, I found that students who've taken an empowerment self-defense class are more confident, not only about defending themselves physically, but in all aspects of their lives. They say they're better able to advocate for themselves in their classes, in their jobs, with their roommates, and they feel like they have better relationships with their friends and families. They feel better about themselves and they feel more able to take on the world. In short, they're stronger, they're happier, and they're safer. So thanks for watching, and please feel free to contact me or any of the other instructors if you have questions about our class. Our contact information and our website address where you can learn more will be at the end of these videos.
Hi, my name is Kay Green. I am a teaching assistant with the Women's Self-Defense program here at the University of Oregon. And I first took the Women's Self-Defense class back at my sophomore year of college. I'm currently a senior. I had just moved off campus into downtown Eugene, and I was so anxious. Every time I left my apartment building, I was scurrying over to class. I was running as fast as I could places. I was just terrified all the time. And so I decided that I wanted to take a women's self-defense class. I was like, I'll feel like a badass. I'll know how to kick people's butts. Like, I'll be all safe and all good. And so what I didn't realize is how much empowerment-based self-defense was really going to change my life. And I fell in love with the curriculum. I fell in love with the way that it made me feel powerful, how it made me feel safe, confident in my own abilities. I think often women or people who are perceived to be women are taught that, you're not strong enough. You need someone else there to protect you. The world is constantly a scary place for women, and instead of feeling afraid of learning all these new statistics of like why I should be afraid, instead I was learning that I'm someone who deserves to feel safe, who has the ability to defend herself, and who can kick butt. And I just truly loved that. I loved learning how to set boundaries with both creepy people out and also people who aren't creepy, but I love in my own personal life. I feel more confident setting boundaries with them, and I feel more comfortable like expressing what I want and need out of all of my relationships in life. And I just absolutely fell in love. So I decided to TA for the class, and I would highly recommend that anyone who's even thinking about taking the UO's Women's Self-Defense class, I would really highly recommend that you do take it, because it changed my life, and I'm hopeful that it would also make you feel strong and powerful and confident in your own abilities to defend yourself.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kelly, and I teach the physical portion of the Women's Self-Defense course. I've been studying and practicing self-defense and martial arts for more than 35 years. I've been teaching for over 25 years, and this is year 21 for me at the University of Oregon. In the physical portion of the class, I really try to give students simple and effective techniques and strategies that range all the way from completely non-violent options, so ways to protect and defend yourself that don't even involve injuring or hurting the other person, all the way to strategies that if you are in a bad enough situation where you do need to injure or disable the other person so that you can escape and get to safety. We know that self-defense situations come in all sorts of different forms, and the more across the spectrum of skills and options that you have, the better. We also know that unfortunately, the majority of assaults against women are going to be perpetrated by somebody that they know, probably even somebody that they have a connection with, or even somebody that they cared about. And so in those types of situations, employing the most violent strategies may be really difficult or challenging, or just not the right thing for that situation. So we really do emphasize having that spectrum of options. We also know that the students are much more likely to utilize the skills that they learn in the empowerment section of the course. Things like recognizing predatory behaviors and boundary setting, verbal strategies, de-escalation, these kinds of things. Those are the types of things that they can use in lots of different areas of their life, and they're going to get a lot of value out of. But having the physical side of it as a backup plan is really helpful, because when students know that they can physically defend and protect themselves, it helps give them the confidence that will make it more effective for them in using the other strategies, right? So that for boundary setting and verbal strategies and those types of things, having that extra bit of confidence of knowing that you could physically defend yourself if you have to can be really helpful. We also know that the skills that they're going to learn in the empowerment portion of the class is just going to make it much less likely that they'll ever even need to use physical self-defense, because it's less likely that they would let something escalate to that point before they employ one of the other strategies and are just able to de-escalate or remove themselves from that type of situation. So I strongly recommend that every woman takes an empowerment-based self-defense course, and a term seems to be just about the right amount of time to really learn and have a chance to really practice and develop those skills, both the physical and the empowerment skills. So we know from feedback that we get from students that this course can absolutely be life-changing. It's even possible that it could save your life. So obviously I'm biased, but I really strongly recommend it.
Hi, I'm Jess Stainbrook, and I'm one of the women's self-defense instructors here at the U of O. I've taught empowerment women's self-defense for more than a decade, and I've been teaching with the program that we have here at the U of O for more than 5 years now. As Jocelyn and Ryan mentioned, contrary to popular belief, most assaults are perpetrated by somebody that we know, and acquaintance assaults have very different dynamics from stranger assaults. So in addition to physical techniques, students in our women's self-defense classes also learn a wide variety of verbal and nonverbal tools and responses for self-defense across a range of situations, from daily intrusions to harassment to sexual coercion and assault. This includes learning about things like the social context and dynamics of sexual assault, assailant behavior and how they select, approach, and test their targets, and body language awareness and risk reduction measures to decrease the likelihood of being selected as a target. Learning about the dynamics of assault and risk factors allows students to recognize risky situations early on, and that helps them respond faster and more effectively to interrupt and get out of the situation before it escalates. Our students also learn and practice boundary setting and assertiveness techniques for avoiding or interrupting assault, and they learn techniques for responding to a verbal or physical attack itself, including de-escalation, active verbal strategies, and active physical strategies for defending themselves. For the team of us who teach self-defense here at the U of O, there are some fundamental principles about women's self-defense that guide the empowerment-based model that we teach from. First, you have the right to defend yourself. Second, you have the ability to defend yourself. Everyone has the ability to defend themselves, and we don't have to rely on other people for protection. Third, there is no one right way to defend yourself. Empowerment self-defense training is about developing a wider range of options to choose from. It's about developing a bigger toolbox to work with. And fourth, responsibility lies with perpetrators. So regardless of what survivors did or didn't do, they're never to blame for a perpetrator's violence or coercion. And finally, you do not owe anyone your body, your time, or your attention.
Hi, I'm Justine Hall. I'm one of the empowerment instructors for women's self-defense. I've been teaching at the University of Oregon since 2003, and women's self-defense is very near and dear to my heart. Connecting with students through this curriculum is a life-affirming experience. Now, don't get me wrong, it is really challenging to talk about violence against women and sexual assault. But I see resilience and courage in my students through their writing and also during group discussions. In order to support our students, we emphasize self-care throughout the 10 weeks of the course. When students put their needs first, they're more effective in school, in work, and in interpersonal relationships. Self-care involves setting time aside to do things that are restorative, or provide time for personal reflection, or to unwind in healthy ways. Self-care is an important life skill, but it is also emotionally supportive of students when we explore aspects of unhealthy relationships. It is emotionally challenging to talk about victimization and to identify the tactics that coercive people use. Yet coercion is very common. A student was just talking to me about a friend who wanted her to go out at 1 a.m. to a fast food place on a weeknight. And she said no to his request. His response was, "But I thought you were spontaneous and fun. I guess I was wrong." And the student started to second guess her decision, but she still declined the invitation. This coercive tactic is called typecasting. He wanted her to change her mind and to set her up to feel like she had something to prove to him. These coercive tactics are also common in sexual situations. Not only do students learn to identify perpetrator ploys, but they also have a variety of skills that allow them to be resilient and maintain safety. In class, we role play a variety of challenging scenarios so that we can experience the social pressures in a safe environment while practicing verbal self-defense. Most students experience significant changes in their self-confidence, even if they believe they were confident before taking the course. When our self-esteem is high, we are less willing to put up with bad behavior. You deserve to be treated with respect, and we hope that you'll join us.
Hi, everyone. My name is Catherine Owens, and I am a former student and teacher's assistant for the Women's Self-Defense course offered at the University of Oregon. I didn't even know that I needed this course until each day in class I was having new revelations on current and past experiences and situations in my life. Each day I was actively healing with my other classmates, and also each day that I left the class, I was for the first time feeling empowered to take action and control over relationships and situations in my life that were no longer serving me. Not only do you get to practice physical self-defense, which is super important, you also get to practice verbal self-defense by using skills such as how to set healthy boundaries, how to listen and share and connect with other women in the class, as well as you get to dive into podcasts and literature that completely validate your experience as a woman. So if you identify as a woman, I highly recommend taking this course as you navigate womanhood in your time at the University of Oregon, but also years and years to come after. I took the course a couple years ago and I still use all the skills that I was taught in that class today. So I hope that you decide to sign up and join the class.